Alright, Toon Army, gather round, because we need to talk about another magical night under the lights at St. James Park. We're the best team in the world. Our Newcastle United showed once again what we're made of. And even the opposing manager couldn't help but show some serious respect. After our 2-1 win over Brentford, Thomas Frank, yes, their boss, had a lot to say, but here's what stood out most. Despite his disappointment with the result, he couldn't ignore just how strong, composed, and dangerous this Newcastle side has become. Frank, whose team had been in red-hot form, coming into this one with 5 straight Premier League wins, admitted that the atmosphere at St. James's Park was something else. He said his players embraced the atmosphere and enjoyed playing in it. But let's be real, that's code for we weren't ready for the madness of this place. He also hinted at the intensity we brought to the pitch. He said, "We were brave, we were aggressive, and that's true. But that was because Newcastle forced them to be. We pressed them, challenged them in every area, and made sure they never had a moment to breathe." Now Frank knows this. He didn't say it outright, but you could hear it between the lines. Newcastle United is a team you have to fight tooth and nail just to keep up with. He was stunned by Sandro Tonali's winning goal, calling it 1 in a million, and said that if Tonali meant it, fair play. But what really stood out was his honesty and humility. Frank laughed it off when Tonali admitted it was probably a cross, but you could see it in his eyes. He knew that even with a slice of luck, Newcastle's belief, momentum, and talent are real. And here's something I think Frank wanted to say, but didn't quite spell out. This is no longer the Newcastle of old. The Newcastle we are now, under Eddie Howe, with lads like Isak and Tonali leading the charge, is clinical, dangerous, and a nightmare to face, especially at home. Honestly, the way he spoke about the game, you could feel his respect. He said, it could have gone either way, but let's be honest, it didn't. Because Newcastle made the big moment count, and that's what great teams do. And let's not forget, Thomas Frank also saw firsthand how tough we are to break down, how electric we are in attack, and how unified we are as a team. That post-match frustration he showed, that wasn't just about missed chances. It was about coming up short against a side that's built different. This is the new Newcastle United, and even our rivals are starting to admit it. Alright folks, that's part 1 wrapped. Thomas Frank may not have said it out loud, but his tone, his words, and his expression all told the same story. Newcastle United are a serious force, and the best part, we're only getting started. Right then, lads and lasses, let's get into part 2. And now it's time to hear from the man who's been leading this incredible journey, our gaffer, Eddie Howe. After that thrilling 2-1 win over Brentford, Howe didn't hold back when it came to praising Sandro Tonali's moment of brilliance. You could see it in his eyes. He knew just how big that goal was. He called it a big moment in the game, and rightly so. With the match hanging in the balance and the pressure on, it was Tonali's rocket from the tightest of angles that sent the Gallowgate end into pure chaos. Now let's be honest, most of us thought it was a cross. Even Tonali admitted it himself. He laughed after the match and said, "It was 70% cross. I'm gonna be honest with you, but it had the perfect speed, perfect angle, and just enough luck to beat the keeper. Football, eh? Sometimes it's not about whether you meant it, it's about whether you had the guts to try it." Eddie, though, wasn't surprised. He said, "Let me say one thing about Sandro. He can hit a ball like no one." That's big praise, and it says a lot about how much belief Howe has in Tonali. He even joked that he fears for our goalkeeper's wrists when Tonali's hitting them in training. That's the kind of power we're talking about here. But beyond the goal, Howe was proud of the full performance. It was our first game back after lifting the Carabao Cup at Wembley, and he admitted he wasn't sure how the lads would respond emotionally. Would there be a hangover? Would the focus drop? Nope, not this group. Eddie said, "We had to work, and we did." That's the standard now at Newcastle United. Every game, full commitment, no excuses. And look, let's not downplay what this result means. With this win, we shot up into 5th place. Sure, Chelsea could temporarily leap over us later in the week, but the point is, we're right there, fighting for a Champions League spot and proving week after week that we belong at the top. This wasn't a perfect performance. Brentford were dangerous. They hit the post, they equalised with a calm penalty, and they pushed us hard. But you know what sets us apart? We find the moments. Isak's goal, pure striker's instinct. Tonali's finish, 1 in a million. And most importantly, we stayed composed. We didn't panic. We didn't crumble. That's the Eddie Howe effect. That's what a proper team looks like, even with some controversy laid on. Brentford claiming they should have had a second penalty for a challenge by Bruno on Damsgaard. Howe and the lads stayed focused. We defended like warriors and protected our lead with everything we had. So what's the takeaway, Toon fans? Simple. We're growing, we're believing, and we're winning. And this team, this special, fearless team, is not just dreaming of Champions League football. We're actually going out there and fighting for it. That's all for today, folks. Keep your black and white hearts proud and strong. We'll be back soon with more exclusive Newcastle United content right here. Until then, take care and Howe the lads!